New Horizons. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the massive quantum reactor, its gentle hum filling the underground facility beneath the Atacama Desert. The rest of the scientific community had dismissed her theories about quantum entanglement-based propulsion as impossible, but she knew better. 20 years of research had led to this moment. Final systems check complete, announced Dr. James Rodriguez, her longtime colleague and friend. Sarah, are you sure about this? The board hasn't approved a full-scale test. Sarah adjusted her safety glasses, a habit from her graduate school days. The board would take another 5 years to approve it, James. Look at the readings. Everything aligns with our simulations perfectly. The prototype drive sat in the center of the chamber, a deceptively simple arrangement of quantum processors and gravitational field generators. Unlike conventional propulsion systems, Sarah's design didn't push against anything. Instead, it created a localized bubble of spacetime that could be manipulated through quantum entanglement. High above Earth's atmosphere, unbeknownst to the humans below, a Galactic Council observation post recorded unusual quantum fluctuations. The lone Moran observer, Kital, adjusted their sensory appendages in confusion. According to all known physics, such patterns shouldn't be possible from a pre-FTL civilization. Back in the facility, Sarah initiated the startup sequence. The quantum processors spun up, creating a cascade of entangled particles. Energy levels stable, James reported, his voice tense. Field integrity at 97% and holding. The air around the drive began to shimmer, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Sarah's instruments showed something extraordinary. They were creating a stable quantum field large enough to envelope a spacecraft. Suddenly, alarms blared. Unexpected quantum resonance. James shouted, "The field is expanding beyond containment." Sarah rushed to the controls, her fingers flying over the holographic interface. "No, this is exactly what we want. The field is self-stabilizing. Look at the harmonic patterns." The quantum field had indeed stabilized, but at a much larger size than their simulations had predicted. More importantly, it was maintaining itself with minimal energy input, something that should have been impossible according to conventional physics. In orbit, Kital's instruments were going haywire. The quantum signatures were unlike anything in the Galactic Council's database. The Moran quickly composed an urgent message to the Council. Unprecedented technological development detected on Sol 3. Request immediate consultation. Sarah and her team spent the next 3 days analyzing the data. They had done it, created a stable quantum field that could theoretically allow faster-than-light travel. But the implications went far beyond mere propulsion. The field doesn't just bend spacetime, Sarah explained to James as they reviewed the results. It creates a pocket of altered physical laws. We could potentially navigate through higher dimensions. James shook his head in amazement. The energy requirements are surprisingly low too. With some refinement, we could scale this up to spacecraft size within months, not years. What neither scientist knew was that their breakthrough had triggered an emergency session of the Galactic Council. The quantum signatures from Earth had caught the attention of every major spacefaring civilization in the sector. On the Galactic Council's capital world, the High Speaker addressed the emergency session. This primitive species has stumbled upon quantum manipulation through completely unorthodox methods. Their approach defies our understanding of physics. The Archean representative, a being of pure energy, pulsed with concern. Their method is dangerous and unpredictable. We should intervene before they destroy themselves and potentially create a cascade failure in local spacetime. But the ancient Xixian observer, whose species had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, offered a different perspective. Perhaps it is our understanding that is limited, not theirs. These humans have approached the problem without our preconceptions. We should watch and learn. Back on Earth, Sarah's team prepared for their first major test. They had constructed a small probe equipped with their quantum drive, ready to attempt humanity's first faster-than-light journey. As the probe activated its drive, creating a shimmering bubble of altered spacetime. Sarah couldn't help but smile. Humanity had taken its first real step into the cosmos, and they had done it their way. Messy, unorthodox, and completely unexpected by the galactic community that was about to discover them. The probe vanished in a flash of quantum energy, leaving behind a stunned team of scientists and a galaxy that would never be quite the same again. Humanity's journey to the stars had begun, and they were about to shake up the established order in ways no one could predict. 6 months after humanity's breakthrough in quantum drive technology, Ambassador Michael Chung stood in the gleaming reception hall of the Galactic Council's embassy station, trying not to show his amazement at the diversity of alien life forms surrounding him. The station's artificial gravity had been calibrated to accommodate dozens of different species, creating distinct zones where various forms of life could exist comfortably. Ambassador Chung, a melodious voice chimed from behind him. "Welcome to Embassy Station." Michael turned to face Coordinator Lix, a Maran whose crystalline form shifted through subtle colors as they spoke. "Thank you for having us, Coordinator. Earth is honored to begin formal diplomatic relations. Your arrival has generated quite a bit of interest," Lix said, their form flickering with what Michael had learned to recognize as amusement. Not many species achieve FTL travel through quantum manipulation, let alone survive the attempt. Before Michael could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Red warning lights pulsed along the corridors, and alien diplomats began rushing in various directions. Coordinator Lix's crystalline form clouded with concern. "The station's primary environmental systems are failing," they announced, their translation device struggling to keep up with their rapid color changes. "Without them, many species here cannot survive." Michael watched as the station's engineering team, composed of the galaxy's finest minds, struggled to identify the problem. The system's quantum processors, responsible for maintaining the delicate balance of different environmental zones, had encountered an unprecedented error. "Let our engineers help," Michael offered, already activating his comm link to the Earth ship in dock. "We have some experience with unexpected quantum behaviors." Lix hesitated only briefly before agreeing. Within minutes, Dr. Sarah Chen and her team, who had been brought along as technical advisors, were knee-deep in the station's systems. "The quantum processors are fighting each other," Sarah explained, her fingers dancing over the alien interface. "Each one is trying to maintain its local environment without accounting for the quantum entanglement between zones." "Impossible," declared the station's chief engineer, a Zixian named Vex. "The processors are programmed to coordinate perfectly." Sarah smiled. "That's the problem. They're too perfect. In our research, we found that quantum systems need a certain amount of chaos to remain stable. Watch this." She introduced a controlled amount of random noise into the system, something that went against every principle of galactic engineering. The alarm suddenly ceased, and the environmental readings began to stabilize. "But that defies all established quantum theory," Vex protested, their appendages waving in agitation. "Sometimes the best solution isn't the most elegant one," Sarah replied. "We learned it the hard way with our drive technology. Perfect order can be more dangerous than controlled chaos." The incident became known as the Embassy Crisis, and its resolution marked a turning point in how the galactic community viewed their new human neighbors. Humanity's unorthodox approaches, while sometimes alarming, had their merits. In the following weeks, Michael found his diplomatic duties increasingly focused on facilitating technical exchanges between human scientists and their alien counterparts. Species that had been practicing quantum engineering for millennia were suddenly eager to learn from Earth's fresh perspective. "Your species continues to surprise us," Coordinator Lix commented during a private meeting. "You approach problems in ways we would never consider, yet achieve remarkable results." "We have a saying on Earth," Michael replied. "Necessity is the mother of invention. When you're working with limited resources and knowledge, you have to get creative." But not everyone was pleased with humanity's rising influence. In the darker corners of the station, representatives of more conservative species whispered about the dangers of allowing such an unpredictable race to access advanced technology. They couldn't understand how a species that had barely mastered space travel could so casually upend thousands of years of established scientific principles. Little did they know, humanity's unconventional methods would soon be needed to face a crisis that traditional approaches couldn't solve. The first warning came from a remote research station in the Carina Nebula. Strange quantum fluctuations were disrupting local spacetime, creating expanding zones where the laws of physics seemed to break down. Within weeks, similar phenomena appeared across 3 different sectors of controlled space. Dr. Sarah Chen studied the holographic display showing the spread of these anomalies, her face illuminated by the swirling patterns of disturbed spacetime. Around her, the Galactic Council's emergency response chamber buzzed with activity as representatives from dozens of species debated the crisis. "The anomalies are growing exponentially," announced First Speaker Vex, their usual confidence shaken. "Our best models predict total collapse of affected regions within months." "We've seen similar patterns," Sarah interjected, drawing surprised looks from the assembled aliens. "On a much smaller scale, during our early quantum drive experiments, we called them cascade failures." Ambassador Chang watched as his old friend pulled up data from Earth's quantum drive development program. The similarities between their failed experiments and the current crisis were striking. "Impossible," declared Arxian Representative Zin, their energy form flickering with agitation. "These disruptions are occurring on a scale billions of times larger than anything your primitive experiments could produce." "Scale doesn't change the underlying principles," Sarah argued. "Look at the quantum signature. It's like ripples in a pond, but instead of water, it's space-time itself that's rippling." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. If Sarah was right, something or someone was conducting massive quantum experiments with technology similar to Earth's drive system, but without the safeguards humanity had developed through trial and error. "We've detected unusual activity in the affected sectors," reported Kittel, the Moran observer who had first noticed Earth's quantum experiments. "Ships using technology we've never seen before. They appear briefly, then vanish." A new hologram appeared, showing grainy footage of sleek vessels appearing in bursts of quantum energy. Their design was like nothing in the Galactic Council's vast database. "They're using a pure quantum drive," Sarah said, her voice tight with concern. "No safety protocols, no stability controls. Each jump is like setting off a quantum bomb in spacetime. How could anyone develop such technology without destroying themselves?" Ambassador Chang asked. "Perhaps they did destroy themselves," suggested Coordinator Lix, their crystalline form darkening. "These could be automated ships, continuing their mission long after their creators perished." The situation deteriorated rapidly over the next few days. More anomalies appeared, some consuming entire star systems. Conventional evacuation efforts were hampered by the unpredictable nature of local spacetime, and the Galactic Council's most advanced containment technologies proved useless against the quantum cascade. In a private meeting with the Council's inner circle, Sarah proposed a radical solution. "We can't stop the cascade through brute force," she explained. "But we might be able to guide it, like we did with the station's environmental systems." "Guide a galaxy-wide quantum catastrophe?" Vex asked incredulously. "The energy requirements alone would be impossible." "Not if we use the anomalies themselves as power sources," Sarah countered. "Their energy output is enormous. We just need to introduce the right kind of chaos into the system." The plan was audacious, requiring coordination between thousands of ships equipped with modified versions of Earth's quantum drive. Each vessel would need to execute precisely timed quantum jumps, creating a complex interference pattern to redirect the cascade's energy. "The margin for error is practically zero," Sarah admitted. "If we get the timing wrong, we could accelerate the collapse instead of containing it." Ambassador Chang watched the council members exchange worried glances. They were being asked to put the fate of entire sectors in the hands of humanity's chaotic, barely tested technology. We have no choice, First Speaker Vex finally declared. Traditional methods have failed. We must embrace new approaches, no matter how uncertain they seem. As the council chambers emptied, Sarah pulled up a simulation of their planned intervention. The swirling quantum patterns reminded her of the first time she had activated the prototype drive back on Earth. Once again, humanity was about to attempt something that conventional wisdom said was impossible. The question was, would their penchant for unconventional solutions save the galaxy or doom it? Operation Quantum Shield launched with controlled chaos that would have given traditional galactic engineers nightmares. 5,000 ships, each equipped with modified human quantum drives, arranged themselves in a complex three-dimensional pattern around the largest anomaly cluster. From the command center of the CSS Hawking, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the deployment through quantum-stabilized sensors. Beside her, Ambassador Chang maintained communications with the mixed human-alien fleet. All ships report ready, announced Kittle, who had volunteered to coordinate the Maran contingent. Though I must note that several captains are expressing concern about the apparent randomness of their assigned positions. Sarah smiled grimly. The positioning looks random because human minds can't easily comprehend five-dimensional quantum geometry. The pattern will make sense when we activate the drives. Remember, she broadcast to the fleet, this isn't about fighting the cascade. We're going to dance with it, guide it, like redirecting a river rather than trying to dam it. The first phase began. Each ship activated its quantum drive in a precisely timed sequence, creating ripples in space-time that interacted with the anomalies. To observers outside the operation zone, it looked like a spectacular light show as quantum energies twisted and warped. Phase 1 complete, reported James Rodriguez, who had joined the operation as Sarah's primary technical advisor. Quantum resonance patterns are. Wait, something's wrong. Warning alerts flashed across the command screens. The anomalies were responding to their intervention, but not as predicted. The cascade was accelerating. The unknown ships. Catal's crystalline form pulsed with alarm. They're appearing throughout the formation. Sarah's hands flew across the control interface as she analyzed the new data. The mysterious vessels had emerged from quantum space, their unshielded drives creating chaos in their carefully orchestrated pattern. All ships, execute Protocol Omega, Sarah commanded. It was a contingency plan she had developed but hoped never to use. Instead of trying to contain the cascade, they would attempt to match its chaos and ride it out. Protocol Omega. First Speaker Vex's voice crackled through the comm. That wasn't in the approved operation parameters. No time to debate. Ambassador Chang interrupted. All ships, follow Dr. Chen's lead. What followed was a display of coordinated improvisation that would be studied in galactic academies for centuries to come. As the mysterious ships appeared and disappeared, creating quantum havoc, the combined fleet adjusted their positions in real time. Pilots who had trained for years in precise maneuvers were now being asked to trust their instincts, to feel the quantum currents, and respond naturally. It's working, James announced after several tense minutes. The cascade is stabilizing, but not how we expected. The quantum anomalies hadn't disappeared. Instead, they had transformed, forming a complex network of stable quantum corridors throughout the affected space. The mysterious ships, their purpose still unknown, had inadvertently helped create something entirely new. Remarkable, Catal observed, their crystalline form shimmering with excitement. You turned a catastrophe into a breakthrough. These quantum corridors could revolutionize interstellar travel. Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the readings. The universe has a way of surprising you when you stop trying to force it to behave according to your expectations. As the fleet regrouped and began documenting their unexpected success, Ambassador Chang received an urgent message from the Galactic Council. The mysterious ships had been traced to their origin, a previously unknown species that had independently developed quantum drive technology, but taken a very different approach than humanity. They call themselves the Nomad Collective, Chang informed the command staff. They'd been traveling through quantum space for centuries, avoiding contact with other species. Our intervention force was the first coordinated response they'd ever encountered to their quantum experiments. "Are they hostile?" asked Vex, his energy form still flickering with concern. "No," Chang replied with a slight smile. "They're curious. Our ability to work with quantum chaos impressed them. They're requesting diplomatic contact, specifically with humanity." Sarah looked out at the newly formed quantum corridor network, gleaming with potential. "So we not only solved the crisis but made first contact with a new civilization and discovered a new form of space travel. Not bad for an improvised solution." That, Ambassador Chang noted, might be the most human summary of events I've ever heard. 1 year after the quantum crisis, the Galactic Council chamber looked very different. The rigid seating arrangement that had stood unchanged for millennia had been reorganized into flowing, organic patterns that encouraged interaction between species. At the center of the chamber, a holographic display showed the ever-expanding network of quantum corridors that now connected distant parts of the galaxy. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the assembly, no longer an outsider but a respected voice in galactic affairs. The integration of human quantum theory with nomad practical experience has opened up possibilities we're only beginning to understand, she explained. Each corridor has its own unique quantum signature, creating natural pathways through space-time that are more efficient than traditional FTL travel. And more unpredictable, added Kex, the nomad representative. Their form, a shifting pattern of quantum energy, complemented the holographic display. But as our human friends taught us, unpredictability can be a strength when properly understood. The partnership between humanity and the nomad collective had transformed both societies. Humans provided the theoretical framework and safety protocols that the nomads had never developed, while the nomads shared centuries of practical experience navigating quantum space. Together, they had turned what was once considered a catastrophic flaw in spacetime into a revolutionary transportation network. The quantum corridors have done more than change how we travel, Ambassador Chang addressed the assembly. They've changed how we think about cooperation and progress. Old boundaries between species have become as fluid as quantum space itself. He wasn't exaggerating. The crisis had forced the galactic community to confront its own rigid thinking. Species that had once looked down on humanity's chaotic methods were now sending their brightest minds to Earth universities to study human innovative theory, a new field that combined Earth's creative problem-solving approaches with advanced alien technologies. "We stand at a crossroads," First Speaker Vex declared, their energy form radiating with unprecedented warmth. "The old order of careful, controlled progress served us well for millions of years, but the universe is not static, and neither can we be. Humanity has shown us that true stability comes not from resisting change, but from learning to adapt to it." Sarah couldn't help but smile as she remembered her first quantum drive experiments in the Atacama Desert. They had seemed so primitive then, but that very primitiveness, that willingness to try things that shouldn't work, had turned out to be exactly what the galaxy needed. The chamber's attention turned to a new proposal, the establishment of the Quantum Exchange Initiative. This unprecedented program would create mixed species research teams, combining different approaches to problem-solving and technology. The goal wasn't just to advance science, but to foster the kind of cognitive diversity that had proven so valuable during the crisis. "Some say we got lucky," Ambassador Chang remarked privately to Sarah after the session. "That if we hadn't stumbled upon the nomads, or if our crazy plan hadn't worked, the galaxy might have been torn apart by the quantum cascade." Sarah watched as human scientists chatted animatedly with their alien counterparts, their differences forgotten in their shared excitement about new possibilities. "Maybe," she replied. "But I think the galaxy was ready for a change. We just helped it along, in our own messy, human way." "And what's next?" Chang asked, gesturing to the quantum corridor display. "We've rewritten the laws of physics, made friends with quantum nomads, and turned the Galactic Council into enthusiastic supporters of chaos theory. How do we top that? Sarah's eyes sparkled with the same enthusiasm that had driven her to build that first quantum drive. That's the beauty of it, Michael. We don't know. And not knowing, that's where humanity has always done its best work. Above them, the quantum corridors pulsed with energy, each one a testament to what could be achieved when innovation and tradition, chaos and order, human ingenuity and alien wisdom came together in harmony. The galaxy had changed and would continue to change, but now it faced that change not with fear, but with anticipation of what new wonders each discovery might bring. In the end, humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy hadn't been their technology or their methods, but their fundamental belief that the impossible was just something that hadn't been tried in the right way yet. As the quantum corridors continued to expand, carrying ships and ideas to the farthest reaches of space, that belief spread with them, igniting a new age of exploration and discovery that would reshape the cosmos in ways no one could have predicted.